Hello students, so today we are going to discuss basic principle of UV visible spectroscopy. In today's lecture we will discuss about the electronic transitions, their origin and their types. So to start with, let's have what is UV visible spectroscopy. UV visible spectroscopy is that particular branch of spectroscopy in which we study the interaction of UV light and the visible light with the matter, and it is a type of absorption spectroscopy. It is also known as the electronic spectroscopy because it involves the transition of or excitement of valence shell electrons. As we discussed in the previous lecture, that electromagnetic spectrum generally comprises of radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, UV visible radiation range, X-rays and the gamma rays. So among these like a variety of electromagnetic spectrum, UV rays, UV and visible rays particularly falls in between the IR and the X-rays, and its wavelength mainly ranges from 180 nanometer to 780 nanometer, in which 180 nanometer to 380 nanometer comprises of ultraviolet light, and from 380 nanometer to 780 nanometer comprises of visible light. Now when this UV or visible light is incident or strike upon the sample, some part of light gets absorbed and the remaining part generally got transmitted and reaches to the detector. And the absorbed amount of light generally causes the excitement or transitions of valence shell electrons, and therefore we can see here like the excitement or transition generally takes place from ground state to the excited state. So in this picture, ground state is represented as a E1, the energy of ground state is represented as a E1, and energy of excited state is shown as a E2. And the difference between the energy of ground state and the excited state is the delta E. That can be calculated by E2 minus E1 difference. And this is also equal to H mu. So, to cause an absorption or transition, the energy of electromagnetic radiation generally should or must match with this difference of energy, that is delta E. So, if electromagnetic radiation energy is lesser or higher than this value of delta E, then absorption will not take place. So therefore, this value delta E is a quantized value, and we have to supply that particular amount of like energy via electromagnetic radiation source to cause the transitions of the excitement of valence shell electrons. So in general, the transition mainly take place from like occupied molecular orbitals to unoccupied molecular orbitals, and in general the transition mainly takes place from higher occupied molecular orbital to lower unoccupied molecular orbital. In short, we say in general transitions are observed from HOMO to LUMO. As we discussed earlier in the molecular orbital like theory or picture, you must have studied that molecular orbitals are mainly like of three types, like bonding molecular orbitals, anti-bonding and non-bonding orbitals. And the electrons present in such orbitals are called bonding electrons, anti-bonding electrons and non-bonding electrons. So bonding electrons are generally of two types, like either in general or organic molecules, either they will be like sigma electrons or the pi electrons, and their corresponding anti-bonding orbital or electron would be the sigma star and the pi star. And the non-bonding electrons designated as N generally comprises or like they have a lone pair which are present over some heteroatoms. So to get a clear picture, we have shown here the formation of the molecular orbitals by the overlapping or combination of atomic orbitals. So when two atomic orbitals combines together, they constitute the molecular orbital, and the molecular orbital generally have a different energy levels in between them. And the least energy level is considered as a sigma energy level, sigma molecular orbital level, and then little bit higher energy is for pi, then n, then pi star, then sigma star. The sigma pi are generally considered as an occupied molecular orbital, and the anti-bonding orbitals are generally considered as a unoccupied molecular orbitals. So the energy generally is increasing from down to the upside. So anti-bonding or unoccupied orbitals are present at a higher energy state, whereas the occupied or bonding like orbitals are thus placed at a lower energy state. So that means the electron present in this sigma and the pi bond generally makes a stable bonds, and these are considered as unoccupied. So whenever we supply some electromagnetic light in the form of UV or visible, so the electron generally gets excited to the anti-bonding high energy state. So this can also be like represented here. So different type of transition which generally can take place are like shown in this given representation, where the same like sigma level, pi level, non-bonding level, pi star and sigma star, different energy levels are designated or shown here. Now the electron, when the electrons of sigma level, sigma energy level or sigma orbital take up the or absorbs the energy, then they got transited to the sigma star anti-bonding orbital. So sigma to sigma anti-bonding orbital is a first type of electronic transition, and after that another possibility is that sigma electron can jump or get transited to the pi star or pi anti-bonding orbital. Then we have a third type, that is the pi star transition, in which pi electron generally got transited from pi to pi anti-bonding orbital. And apart from these, when non-bonding electron generally got transited, so they can go either to the sigma anti-bonding orbital or pi anti-bonding orbitals. So when non-bonding electron jumps to the sigma anti-bonding orbital, it forms fourth type, that is the n sigma star transition. And when non-bonding electron jumps to the pi anti-bonding orbital, so it constitutes the last fifth type, that is the n pi star transition. So as we can see clearly, the energy is increasing from to the upside. So by looking these arrow lines, we can easily compare the energy requirement. So as we can see that sigma to sigma star transition is the longest transition, so therefore it requires a highest amount of energy. And after the sigma star, then second one is the sigma to pi star, that is the second highest energy gap, so that requires a second highest energy to cause this electronic transition. So similarly, all such 4-5 types of transitions are categorized in the form of energy requirement. So the first is the sigma to sigma star, that is that mainly requires the highest amount of energy to cause the transition. Then we have a sigma to pi star, then we have a n to sigma star, then we have a pi to pi star, and last is the n to pi star. So the smallest amount of energy is required in n to pi star transition. So as we discussed earlier, here also in electromagnetic spectrum, that when wavelength increases, energy content of that particular light generally decreases. So wavelength and energy are inversely proportional to each other. So as the energy requirement is high, as you can see, we have discussed here, so that means to cause such transition we need a shorter wavelength. So because shorter wavelength would be having a highest amount of energy. So as we go from left to right, energy content is generally decreasing and wavelength is generally increasing. So to cause the n pi star transition, we need the highest amount of longer wavelength and lowest amount of energy. But in general, it has been seen that n pi star transitions and n sigma star transitions are very seldom observed in any UV or visible spectrum. So these are actually considered as a forbidden transitions. So now let's come to what are forbidden transitions. So these are the two types of forbidden transition as we discussed, and the forbidden transitions are nothing just those transitions which are generally not allowed during the like absorption process are known as a forbidden transitions. So the criteria for any transition to be like forbidden is generally depend upon the some selection rule, and one selection rule states that during transition, if the spin quantum number of an electron changes, that transition is generally considered as or called as a forbidden transition. They are not allowed. So it has to be kept in mind that during the transition, the spin of electron or spin quantum number of electron generally should not change. If it is changing, then that is forbidden or not allowed. So as we know from the molecular orbital picture or geometry, that non-bonding electrons are generally located like at a perpendicular arrangement to the bonding orbitals. So whenever the like non-bonding electrons absorb some amount of energy and jumps to the bonding anti-bonding orbitals, so there are chances of change of a spin quantum number. So therefore they are considered as a forbidden transitions. So now let's have a one by one discussion over all these 5 type of transitions. And the first one is the sigma to sigma star transition. Now sigma to sigma star transition, as we discussed earlier, are the highest energy transitions. And one thing to keep in mind is that all like alkanes, which are like saturated hydrocarbons, alkanes or cycloalkanes, they are able to cause or observe such type of transitions. But the problem is that, as we discussed earlier, that they are the highest energy transitions, so that means they require a shorter wavelength, and therefore sometimes it is observed that the light below UV range is generally like causing such type of transition. So these type of transitions are mainly observed below the UV region, or that is generally called as a far UV region. And the problem is that in the far UV region or below UV region is that like below 180 nanometer, the atmospheric oxygen generally also absorbs this UV light. So to operate or to carry out some investigation under this far UV region, we have to apply a vacuum to evacuate all the atmospheric oxygen, so that it may not disturb your results. So therefore far UV region is also known as a vacuum region. So below 180 nanometer is the far UV or the vacuum region, and that is a region of alkanes, and they have a relatively very low intensity. The molar absorptivity or Emax value are generally below 1000. Then second is the pi star transitions. They mainly ranges from 200 to 700 nanometer, and they are the most important one, because the main application of UV and visible spectroscopy like technique or method is the identification of unsaturation and the conjugation. So any unsaturated or conjugated bond must have and they actually have a pi electrons. So the transition of the pi electron is the prime criteria of importance for us. So they have a highest Emax value that ranges from 1000 to 10,000, and all the unsaturated compounds, conjugated compounds like alkene, alkynes, dyes and aromatic compounds can observe such type of pi star transitions. Then third is the sigma to pi star transition. Now sigma to pi star transition are generally very low intensity transitions, and they are also observed under this vacuum or far UV region, that is below 150 nanometers, and they are not very common transitions, and mainly shown or observed by the carbonyl compounds like aldehyde, ketone, etc. And the fourth is the n-pi star transition. Now n-pi star transitions generally are very low intensity of 10 to 1000 Emax values, and they, as we discussed earlier, they are the forbidden transitions, and they can be observed between 200 to 700 nanometers, and all those like compounds in which heteroatom is attached to the carbon via the double bond or triple bond can observe such n-pi star transitions. And the final last one is the n-sigma star transitions, which are observed in between 150 to 250 nanometer and very like lesser Emax value of 100 to 3000, and the range is bigger obviously. And all such compounds in which heteroatom is present and that is attached to the carbon via single bond are generally capable to observe such n-pi and sigma star transition. In fact, n-pi star and sigma star both are considered as a like forbidden transition, but in some cases they are observed with very low intensity. So, like in summary, we can conclude that alkanes are generally like capable to cause or observe the sigma to sigma star transitions mainly, while alkenes, alkynes, dienes and aromatic compounds observe the pi-pi star transitions. But when some heteroatom comes into the picture or molecule, like so that new type of transitions generally are observed, like n2 sigma star or n2 pi star transitions. So when heteroatom is attached to carbon with the double bond, then n-pi star transitions are observed along with some other transitions, and when heteroatom is connected to carbon with the single bond, then n-sigma star transitions are observed along with some other transitions. So this was all about the basic idea of the electronic transitions under UV visible spectroscopy. Thank you.